Recently, I saw Concord and 9th's Greatest Hit Bundle and I had to have it. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video, I am sharing the Concord and 9th Greatest Hits stamp set and die set. This was not sent to me. This was something that I saw online and had to have. Let me show you the stamps and dies and why I think they're so cool. This is the Greatest Hits stamp set and die set from Concord and 9th. I bought them together as a bundle to save a little bit of money. Some of the circle dies cut out some of the sentiments and images on the stamp set, but there's also dies to cut out a record and a record sleeve. There's some great sentiments in this stamp set as well, things like "You Rock," and then there's a banner that cuts out "You're simply the best," "You're a classic," and "Good times." Now, let's use these stamps and dies to make 3 different cards. And what I like about this bundle is that each card looks completely different than the last. For this first card, I want to show you how the record dies work. So the large circle cuts out the circle of the record and the hole in the center. This is like an embossing die, which cuts out or embosses the lines or grooves of the album. You can see I have some glossy black cardstock, which is perfect for cutting out these albums. Now there are 2 other circular dies that can cut out that image in the center of the album, which is where the label was to show the band and the songs or the album name. So you can layer those on top of each other and then layer those 2 on top of the album, and it really looks like a real record album from back in the day. So I'm going to use some liquid glue. I'm using different colors of cardstock from Concord and 9th, and then white that goes underneath them there. And then that black glossy cardstock is from Memory Box. I'll link all the colors that I used and the cardstocks down below in the YouTube description box under this video. I'm using liquid glue for this because that glossy cardstock, I feel like a tape runner would not hold it necessarily in place. So a little bit of strong liquid glue, you don't need a lot to adhere those all together. And then I have this rainbow of albums to play with. So I cut a slimline card. It's about 4 by 8.5 there, so it's kind of a big one, and I'm going to adhere all of the albums down with some foam tape, and some of the album is going to be hanging off the side, and I'll deal with that once I have them all in place. So just a couple of pieces of foam tape towards the center of those albums so that I can place them next to each other. They'll all be popped up off the back of the card, and they'll kind of go down the card in that rainbow format. Once that's done, I can flip this over and just trim off anything that's hanging off the side of this card because I want it to be able to fit into an envelope at some point. I do like the way they look completely whole, but they also look great once you cut off those edges. It's still, you can tell exactly what they are and that there's an entire rainbow of them. So just some nonstick scissors to cut off those little bits. And now I'm ready to stamp the sentiment, which says "You're simply the best," and die cut it with the banner die that comes in the die set. So just hold it in place with a little pixie tape, and then I'm going to trim a piece of foam tape down so that I can fit it right behind that banner. Little thin piece of foam tape to pop that up. It says "You're simply the best." And then last but not least, I am going to cut out some of the stars from the die set from gold mirror cardstock and just scatter those around the card. You just need a couple of them to really highlight those albums and to draw the eye down that card. For the next card, I wanted to create a solid gold album. I thought that was such a cool idea. I loved the way those looked when you got to see those hanging on an artist's wall of those solid gold albums that they had achieved. So I cut everything for the album out of gold mirror cardstock. I'm layering the gold label together, and then I'm going to layer that over the gold album, which I did emboss with that emboss die so that you can see the grooves of the label. I also cut out 3 little music notes that's in the die set, and this is the record sleeve. It's very easy. Just fold it in half and then score at that score line. All the score lines are made for you, so all you have to do is reinforce them with a bone folder. There are a tab on each side that's going to create this little, almost like an envelope, which is the record label or record sleeve. So I'm going to force all of those score lines. Once that's done, just put some score tape or other type of double-sided strong adhesive on the little tabs, pull off the top protective layers, and fold up the sleeve. Very easy to create. Look at how easy that was. And that is going to perfectly hold any of those record albums that you can create, whether it's solid gold or a regular album. So I just wanted to make sure mine was dry before I tried it inside the sleeve there. And you can see it goes in and out of the sleeve so easily. So now I want to decorate that sleeve. There's a large stamp from the stamp set that's a sentiment that says "You rock" in a circle. I thought gold embossing powder would go great with that solid gold album. So just stamp that with some Versamark ink after treating the cardstock with anti-static powder tool, and then sprinkle some Hero Arts gold glitter embossing powder on top. Once it's completely cooled, you can brush away any of the excess anti-static powder with a dry cloth, then hold the die in place with some pixie tape. You can mat some white cardstock over black cardstock, and then stamp a sub-sentiment that says "You're a classic," same way with that gold glitter embossing powder on black cardstock. That banner die will cut out all three of those little sentiments. Then just use some tape runner or the liquid adhesive to adhere the album sleeve down to your card. Then a little bit of tape runner to adhere the "You Rock" sentiment. That's sort of the album label or album cover. Then a little bit of black foam tape or foam squares behind your "A Classic" to pop that up on top. And the solid gold album fits right inside that album sleeve. The little gold mirror notes, music notes cut out of gold mirror cardstock are the perfect embellishment to sprinkle around the card, to draw the eye around the card, and you can see that solid gold album fits right inside like I mentioned. You can also add a gift card to this album sleeve, and you can put the album right on top to hide the gift card until you're ready to give it to someone. So this is such a fun way to give a little gift card. I think anybody who loves music would love this card. It'd be a great way to give an iTunes gift card. For this card, I wanted to use the stamp set to stamp some of those tiny little record albums. So I'm stamping them with black ink on white cardstock, and you can see the image has some white lines that shows the motion of the album spinning around, which I think is just such a clever way to create this image. There's also a small stamp that can go inside that album to create the label or the center of the album, and you can stamp that in different colors if you want. I am stamping mine in several colors of Concord and 9th ink, and to create this sentiment I'll use two different colors of Concord and 9th ink as well. So I have Poppy for the top and bottom of the sentiment. There are words at the top, words at the bottom, and then a word in the center. So the words in Poppy say "Totally for you." Then to stamp a different color in the center, simply cover up the top and bottom lines with some washi tape or pixie tape, and then ink up that center word in a different color. Then peel off that pixie tape or washi tape and stamp the word. And I did stamp this twice, so I did cover up the words again and then inked it up and stamped it again. Then simply add some foam tape to these little records that die cut out with the matching dies to pop them up and make this really clean and simple card, but super cool. It says "Totally Jazzed for You" with the 4 different colors of record albums. How much fun is this bundle from Concord and 9th? I am looking at the other bundle that has record album stamps and dies. I think I might have to grab that one too. YouTube thinks you might be interested in watching this video next. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. There was like a little dust mote that like went by my eye as I was talking, so I don't know if my eyes were like, woo!